Hey, West Ave. Hey, Thursday afternoon. Another installment of what we're talking about. Of thank you so much, parents, teaching. And that you do that your entire life, that you as parents having children, that even as someone encouraged me as soon as I was having my first child, that I'm going to be a parent for the rest of my life. And I'm a dad forever, all because of having children. And so be encouraged, parents. Be encouraged that you get to be a parent for the rest of your life. It is a full-time job. That it's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That it is nonstop, and it doesn't even stop till after they're even 18 years old. That you get to be a parent into your adulthood. Even it's funny that, and I'm sure that maybe I have a large family. I've got 4 daughters, and so I have so many people. I imagine if you have a large family that people do this to you while you are out and about, that I have many men and women say that they publicly look at me and say they feel sorry for me. It happens constantly, whether I'm at a grocery store or Walmart or wherever I'm at, that literally they're like, oh, you got 4 girls? Oh, I feel sorry for you. And you know what? I hate it. I'll be honest. We and my wife, we talk about it regularly, that she gets it all the time too with having 4 girls, and whether you had multiples of any gender, you could have you could have 10 kids, you could have all boys, you could have all girls, you could have different genders of boys and girls. But if you have a large family, then people kind of make these comments, and what's sad is that they make those comments. I can take it. It's happened ever since we've gotten to 3. But that I feel bad that my daughters are there around the cart and they can hear it as well. Almost like they're a burden instead of a gift. That they are this chain and shackle instead of a joy and just times to take hold of what God has given us in life, and just be able to enjoy a family, and that it's part of the wondrous love of Him to gift us with these children. A man of a quiver full. That's what I get to have, and I'm so grateful. And families. Some people can't have children and want children, and it doesn't come to fruition. But graciously, I have multiple, and I'm even thankful, that there's even a child in heaven, as my wife has miscarried before, that we get to, someday I'll be able to hold that baby someday. And so be encouraged. But unfortunately, the world looks at you differently. And so, but I tell you that all that being said, and that some things that come to mind as people consider me with multiple children, and they just look down and feel sorry, and I don't look at it that way at all. And what a blessing they are. And this time that we get to share together, as you get to have time with family, maybe you're back to work, but the children are home, or maybe you get to, you have to take off to care for them, or whatever it might be. But what a joy it is to have children. So today, as we continue on this trek, as of course that we as teachers, what we can manipulate, of structuring, of teaching, of observing, of increasing positive interactions, of correcting fluently, of all these things, STOIC, to create good teachers. I want to encourage you that actually these correcting fluent moments, as I said, immediately, calmly, consistently, regularly, that these things need to be done to change behavior, to help encourage behavior to change. But consider them as teaching opportunities. Consider them as gifts. Crazy to say, but that as even I'm waiting on the radio sometimes, I'm getting other work done, whether I'm on a laptop or meeting with teachers or families, or even getting to encourage and minister to a student in their needs. But that I get a call on the radio. And as I'm headed towards the call, wherever it might be, I pray as I head that direction, because I don't know what's going to happen when I open the door. Literally, I open the door. Some kid could be upset. Some kid have thrown a chair, a desk. Someone might be in a fight. I mean, it could literally be anything, or just a simple, just off-task behavior. The student won't we're just refusing to do what the teacher asked them to do, and so it could be anything. But that's where what's wonderful is that I look at that as a gift, a moment to teach. That it's like my moment to impart wisdom and knowledge and experience, and just whether it helped them to calm down, for them to be able to calm down appropriately. Whether we sing a song, when you feel so mad that you want to roar, take a deep breath and count to 4. We do that with our younger students, or with older students, or whatever it might be, or even middle age. I'm always trying to get their mind off of something else, and so hey. Did you get breakfast this morning? Or, hey, how did it go last night with your brother and sister? I might ask anything just to get their mind. What are you doing this weekend? I mean, just to get them, kind of get their mind set on something different, which I talked about, of positively minding heavenly things, inputting, output, all these things we've shared over the past couple of weeks. But it's a moment that you can teach something. It is a moment that you can take whatever they're giving you, whether it's a fit and a tantrum, and whether they're upset, and that you can download calm. And that's where I shared this week, as I talked about a young man cussing me out, and I have to be the calm in the room, so I can download calm to him, or I can actually basically input it into him, that he can see calm, and he can receive that, and then output calm. And so you have to be that constant, that person, in order to for calm to be relayed. And if you're not calm yourself, then they're not going to be calm. And it's that kind and compassion and that gracious behavior as an adult, that you get to literally approach that situation and download calm, or input calm into them, for them to respond differently for whatever they're upset about. And sometimes it's just listening. What are you upset? They won't respond sometimes. Do different things to try to get them to respond. Like I said, asking them different questions, or pulling them out in the hallway. Sometimes it's necessary to have them away from the group, have them away from everything else that's going on. Let's talk one-on-one. My wife does a really good job of that in our own home. Even today, we were on a walk, and one of my daughters had shut down on her bike, and for whatever reason, and she wasn't saying anything, she just sat there. And so my wife goes and talks to her, and then me and the other girls, we're up. I got the stroller, we're down the street a little bit of ways, and my wife is one-on-one, talking things out. What's going on? What's wrong? Why are you upset? Why are you shutting down? And that separation allows, especially this daughter in particular, she can be quiet at times, she can shut down. And so then one-on-one, though, is really effective for her, because she does not like that public, anything public. She doesn't prefer that. She'll shut down instead of communicate. And so, but once we get her aside, away from everybody else, then you can communicate. She'll open up, and that usually would work for her. And that goes back to that each child is different, responding to them differently. On everyone responds differently to different things. But downloading calm, of seeing it as a teaching moment, as a gift, that you can help the student work through. You can help your own child work through, that they misunderstand something, or the communication barrier. They don't understand the words that you used, or it might have been, or they don't like the change in routine, whatever it might be, that they're frustrated and upset. The same thing happens at school all the time. We as teachers, we deal with that as a schedule change, whether it be, all of a sudden a surprise visit from somebody coming to watch your class could throw off the things, or all of a sudden now we have we have a guest speaker that's going to come to speak to the whole school, and now our entire schedule's changed, or we have a fire drill. Literally any interruption and kind of ebb and flow of changing the routine kind of gets everybody off, and we can all be kind of frustrated, and the kids especially, as adults are been flexible over time and be able to adapt to that. But the kids themselves have a hard time with a change in routine, and which is so great for you to structure their day and their nightly bedtime and their routine, whether it be in the morning chores or at nightly bedtime routine, whatever it might be. That structure helps them to be more successful. So today, though, as I talked about of teaching as an opportunity, of you thinking that as a gift, of sharing even a story from your life, as teaching as an opportunity. But I would like to have you consider these, when I say stoic or structure, teach, observe, increase positive interaction, and correct fluently, that starts actually with us. My oldest daughter, she watches my every move, and it's even fun. She's 8 years old. Even my youngest daughter now is 1.5, almost 2 here in August, and she repeats every word that you say, and so that makes me watch and guard my mouth on what I'm saying and how I say it, because my little about to be 2-year-old is like mouthing everything that I repeat out of my mouth. She just likes to repeat that. And my oldest daughter literally even tries to mimic my mannerisms. That she, 8 years old, she holds me in high regard, but even as if I'm dancing to a song, she might try to mimic that. But even my bad habits of chewing with my mouth open sometimes, or interrupting when someone's trying to say something, and I'll try to interject and finish my wife's sentences, but I'm terrible at it. I'm not good at it, and my wife gets really upset because I'm not even there. I mean, I'm totally just making up something. I'm thinking that she's going to say something next, and it's not true at all, and I unfortunately just butcher it, and my wife is like, will you just listen? Stop talking, Brad, and just listen at what I'm about to say, because I was not even getting to be anywhere close to that. And so, but then my daughter will do it. Then my daughter will interject into other siblings' conversations, or my wife talking to her, like thinking that she knows it all. And I'm like, man, as I think about this stoic structure, or, I say as a teacher that we do these things for our classrooms, but actually you have to do this for yourself. Think about it. That actually, if I'm going to structure our classroom day, well, then I need to structure my schedule or my time. That I need to know, for me personally, I've got to get up early, for me to eat, for me to read the Bible, for me to get ready for work, for me to work out, all before getting to school at 7:30 or 7:45. Right, and then I know that my schedule's running all the way up until 3:45, 4 o'clock, sometimes later than that. And I have to structure myself and my routine. And then after I get off work, whether we have some event or a kids thing that we have to go to, or church or whatever it might be, but that has to plan in my day. And then we're having dinner around 6 o'clock, and thus bedtime routine for the kids around 8 o'clock. And then, whatever I'm doing up till 10 o'clock, trying to get in the bed. I mean, literally, but I have to structure my life. And that rubs off on the children, that we structure what they do, but I also have to structure myself in order for me to be successful, and thus have our family to be successful. So structuring is not just their routine, it's my routine, that I have to do those things, because if I don't, then I'm falling apart as a dad, as a husband, as a man of God, that I have to structure myself, okay, or discipline my routine, okay. Then I have to teach myself. I'm a stagnant being if I'm not learning myself. If I'm not trying to improve, whether I'm trying to improve, like I said, a man of God, a husband, a dad, or a hobby that I'm enjoying, that if I'm not learning things, if I'm not, whether it be through other people, or whether it be through books or YouTube or whatever it might be, if I'm not learning, then I'm not teaching myself. And so then I'm not, I can't even teach my children. That it all starts with ourselves. We're trying to create these successful adults, that we have to do this ourselves. It's not just the classroom. It's not just the children. It's us. And so then observe. I have to observe myself. Reflect on the things that I've said, the words that I've said. I've been rude. I've been short. I've had a demeaning tone. Whatever it might be. Not even just that, but giving praise, giving encouragement to my daughters, to my spouse, to my wife, of loving her well. I'm observing myself. even fast forward, our 10-year anniversary is coming, and am I planning for that? This Sunday's Mother's Day, am I prepared for that? I mean, that I'm having to observe, and I butchered my dad's birthday. I terribly have the wrong day. I'm 30 something years old, and I have not memorized my dad's birthday. Terrible son, Brad, terrible. Like, these are things that I observe about myself that I need to improve and work at and try to put in a more effort to be on the ball. To again, my children see all that. They pick up on it and they repeat it. So observing myself, increasing positive interactions. That's around all of my friends. That's around them. If I'm treating my wife well, then I always think about it myself. Is that I want to think about, for me personally as a dad, on what my daughters look for in a man. And am I that example? Not lording it over them, but as an example, whether it be for faith, whether it be for my words, whether it be for my actions, that I'm loving them, I'm caring for them, for my wife, for them, for everyone else that I know, for serving others. I mean, it's everything down to the T, where I want them to choose a man who's not lazy, to choose a man who goes to work and works hard, to choose a man who cherishes and cares about them, a man who's going to love them well, who's going to have a huge faith in the one who created all things and has it in the palms of his hand. He's in control of all of it. For him, through him, and to him are all things. That I want my daughters to fall in love with that guy, for that man. That I can honestly say when I meet him someday, that I can look at my daughters and say, Lord, I just give you my blessing on your marriage and future home and family and whatever you guys create as you grow together to becoming one. Let no man separate. That I want them to have that. It starts with me. They're watching me. Every move, every word. And let alone them, but I'll be judged one day for all those things that I've done. But I want them to mimic what I get to do by God's grace, being a good dad, of that they want a man like that someday, a husband like that, like dad, a dad like dad someday, like that. They want that man that they will freely give themselves to because of how well I treated their mom and treated them. So increasing positive interactions as a family, as self, and then correcting fluently, which is where it comes down to us. That I regularly ask my wife of where I need to improve. I say, honey, how can I love you better? What can I do to love you better? What things do I need to work on? And so I'm asking, she's the closest person to me, my best friend in the world. And I'm asking her, hey, what do I need to do? And so that she can give me some feedback, because I don't always see it myself. But at the end of the day, I need to correct myself. I need to, it was fun. My third daughter, when we were out on that same walk this morning, and my wife was telling me yesterday or whatever, we were on a walk, she literally stopped and said, Mom, I was going to say something rude to Lily, but I thought about it and I didn't say it. This is a 5-year-old. And you're like, what? And I need to do that. Correcting myself. Asking forgiveness, showing that we make mistakes, confessing my sin to one another, so that I can be forgiven, that even the prayers of a righteous, that we can pray for one another, the prayers of a righteous man availeth much, or the prayers of a righteous person are highly effective. That is also a key aspect to it, that I don't say the Stoic part with a P in there with a prayer, but even as I read one time, of all these efforts, of all these things that we can do, I'll be honest with you, it is totally God's grace. It frustrated me when I read that in the book, that I went 150 pages in, and then I got to a point where she's like, you can do all these great things, you can be this parent and this and dad and blah blah blah, and it's like, but actually it's totally God's grace. Children can be in a terrible household, and by God's grace, become wonderful people. Children can be in a wonderful household, and unfortunately can become terrible people. That I need to rely on the one who's in control of all things, even more than relying on myself and my efforts, because actually he's in control of all things. That prayer from a righteous person, the prayers of a righteous person are highly effective. That praying for your children out loud, that we do every night on a bedtime routine, but even just one-on-one, but praying for them individually, as a family, as a whole, because actually at the end of the day, I don't have control of what they become. I don't. And this is what good teachers do. Good teachers realize the same thing. That we have no control over what these children become. Parents, we have no control over what they become. But we know the one who controls all things. And that the prayers of a righteous person are highly effective. Highly effective. That as we pray for the children of our building, that we have wonderful, we have people that prayer walk our building. We as a staff sometimes pray collectively. We as some of our church partners that partner with us pray for us. Even teachers' churches, like the churches that teachers attend, these churches are praying for our students by name, for God to do some great things in their life and for them to be so successful. That STOICP, that prayer, is what good teachers do. So I encourage you, parents, families, that old statement that families that pray together stay together, that we as a family, that we can pray for each other, our needs, for others and their needs, for giving glory to Him, that prayer can be an aspect that changes behavior. Because at the end of the day, I attest, and I'm sure you have as well, we can't change anybody. We can't even change ourselves. Long-term change and real change comes from the one who changes all things. That the old passes away, and behold, he says that it make all things new. That you can put off all these things, these former things, but that you can put on Jesus Christ and the newness of life. That He changes people. That if you look at the stories of the Bible themselves, that the people of the Bible, that they were changed, meeting God in Jesus Himself, even changing people's names, that no longer the same in their lives, even becoming different things as God provides for them and takes them to a place, and that it's okay to make mistakes. That's my favorite. King David killing people, Moses killing people, Paul killing people. That these three men of the Bible themselves had actually murdered people, and God was still able to use them for good. That He can change their behavior, that He can change their life into something new. Trust Him, the one who knows you and loves you, and that you have to, willingly. If you choose Him, then it says that if you abide in Him, He'll abide in you. That He will come and make His dwelling place. That if you allow Him to, then He will come in. If you stand at that door and seek and knock and watch Him open that door. Watch Him open that door. May it be so for our children. May our children, just as that psalm that I posted yesterday, may things that I pray over my daughters, besides many scriptures. I mean, there's so many things that I do, as I encourage you as we close up. There's so many prayers that I have for my children that I pray over regularly, but some that just very simple, besides the, of course, from Numbers, that may he bless you and keep you, make his face to shine upon you, be gracious unto you, may he turn his countenance towards you and give you peace. But of other ones that I've learned, one that I've learned, that may he cover you with his blood. May he keep you from all evil and fulfill your purposes, for his life, for you on this earth. That he fulfills his purposes through you. That I'm giving and offering my children up for God to do as he wants. I even pray that over all the young men and all the students that come in my office, that I have it posted in my classroom, that a mighty man of God, that I've got that from another pastor, that he would look, that his grandmother would look at him and say, mighty man of God, and thus call it out of them. And then he would pray for them. But that is the essence and the truth of the real change in behavior. Long-lasting, life-changing change of God himself changing people. So I encourage you as we close, thank you guys so much. May we be quick to listen, slow to speak, slow to become angry. May we live to please him. May we, as families, love is what we do. Let's not just hear it, let's do it. And of course, as always, because of his love, we love. Hey, love you guys so much. Have a great Thursday evening. And have a wonderful tomorrow, Friday shout out video that we'll have fun with.